Welcome back to the Tractor Time with Tim Dream Shop build. We're making great progress and the building has really taken shape. If you're just joining us, we're building a large shop and office addition to our home.
It's big door day here on Tractor Time with Tim. Yeah, we're going to get the frame put in for this big IBeam door. I'm going to call it an airplane door. I think that'll make sense to you. You'll see it by the end of this episode, but it's going to swing like this, 26 foot wide. First thing we're going to have to do is reinforce these end posts. We'll talk more about why we're doing that as we go along. I'm learning a lot about the wind loads on a larger door like this. I never really understood this at all. I was obviously worried about the wind load when the door was open. I mean, that makes sense to me. The door's it's going to stick straight out here. It's quite sensible that there'll be a large wind load. But what John has explained to me is that there's perhaps even a bigger wind load when the door is closed. The wider the door, the more that these posts on the end have to carry. For instance, if we just pushed in really hard in the center of a door, it's going to bow inward and try to twist and bow these posts. So the wider and wider doors are going to require beefier posts, even on a regular garage door or roll-up door of some kind. Now, separate sliders do better because they've got a hook down in the middle, right, at the base, so that they distribute that load a little more. They don't have as much of that inward force. But any door that spans the whole thing and has no connection in the middle, it's quite a load. And well, that's what we're doing here. We're beefing up these posts to make them capable of taking that load. One thing we're seeing here is that any building can be retrofitted to handle one of these I-beam doors or any sort of heavy door like this. We've just beefed up around that post. We're putting in a strong header here. Okay, this was planned. These are big LVLs. I don't know exactly the size, but there's going to be 2 of them. And then with the extra 2x10s that we're putting on the side of these posts, we should have plenty. Meanwhile, I'm not helping at all. I'm just windbagging up here.
This is the jack plate of the door then. This is what supports the door, most of the load anyway. So it's one piece weldment. The door hangs on the outside of the building, so it seals against the side. So these are top hinge plates. And there's different sizes of plates for different sizes of doors, obviously. But this one piece, so it gets all your moment load. So there's a tension load with the door open, compression load with the door, the jack load of the door, and then also when it's closed, then this is under tension and that's under compression. So it gets all those loads into iron. It's all one weldment. These are all through bolted, temporarily screwing it on to hold it so I can drill it. But this is all one weldment. That way it holds all the loads, compression and tension. You know, obviously it wouldn't work bolting it direct to wood with those kind of tensions. So you put the load all into this one plate. That way it's not bowing the wood or putting extra strain on the building. I also measured, there's some trim out here. You see them guys putting it on down there. Some trim that goes on the jams, and these are all on our website. We'll get you all those profiles for the jam trims, just a simple L. And then there's a J trim that retrieves the corrugated metal on the building. It's where you terminate your building metal too. That's 3 inches in from the end, so, from the opening. So I'm ready to through bolt this, drill it, through bolt it, and then we hang jacks. I'll be back with the jack. So there's the left and right. It's written on here on the motor, left and right. If you're standing from the inside of the building looking out. Left motor goes on the left side, right side goes on the right side. We pre-mount these. There's a coupler there, spider. So this is a wear part. So you can interchange a motor if something happens to the motor. Then this is the grease access point. So this is where you actually do the greasing, and that magnet covers that. So you actually grease the screw. You see the screw in there. So you grease that, and then there's a zerk here. This is grease the bearings, your thrust bearing. So, but every 800 operations, so every couple of years, depends on how much you use the door. So every year and 2 years is enough. So obviously it's cased, so it's not gonna get dust or anything in the screw. That's the biggest thing, is dust and water, but it's pretty well inside of there, so it's dust-free environment. So yeah, it's 31,000 cycle life on a jack. Only issues we've had is the pins, the thrust pins and roll pins and stuff we've used, and we've changed that design now. We've gone to a through bolt setup where it's more secure, but that's really been the only issues we've been having with jacks. Obviously a big advantage jack and motor like this versus hydraulic. Most of these doors are hydraulic. Is it's a true mechanical fix, true mechanical lock, and then it's also got the automation of it. So this is a controlled servo motor, so I'll show you in the control box the dual axis controller and things like that. But this way it's not a mechanical, there's less mechanics to fail here. These couplers are made for 16 horsepower. So size-wise, we are tremendously overkill. You know, this motor's got 1.2 horsepower. Way overkill for what, but it's got to be right. It can't fail. If that were to come loose, you know, the door would eventually, you know, it's not going to slam down, but it'll come down. Make things right, make things heavy duty, so it doesn't fail. So we send all the hardware, obviously, for the attaching the motors and this horseshoe plate and all that. We don't include is the door kit is the carriage bolts. You know, we recommend carriage bolts. We can supply you. At the end of the day, we don't know the thickness of your wall and the header. So when we install, we have 6, 7s, 8s, 10s, 12s, 16s, all in the truck. So whatever length we need, you know, we can put it in. But that's why we don't supply bolts. If you tell us what you want, we can send it. We have them in stock. But the other thing is you make sure the jack is, just want to make sure that that's parallel with the post. Obviously, you don't want it to swing parallel with the operation of it. It'll get things in a bind and then it'll make a mess. You know, this has all got room for give. You know, it's not going to be perfect. We don't need it to be perfect, but you also got to care about what you're doing and get it right. You don't need to, you know, micrometers and lasers, things like that. Don't need that. Just make sure it's parallel, make sure it's plumb, make sure the jambs are plumb. The opening doesn't need to be square. You can run this door in a non-squared opening. Some due care has to go into it, but it definitely doesn't need to be perfect. There's a lot of forgiveness in the situation. We run into a lot of places where you got existing sliding door, so your ground's uneven. We've done situations where one side of the door is up to 2 feet longer than the other side. You know, the floor's crooked. You know, we can do it. The top's got to be straight, but the bottom doesn't have to be. Go all the way down to 8 foot, all the way to 60 foot wide. Hurricane rated, wind rated. Standard 115. We go up to 160. Stress on the building is about the same as a garage door. You got to frame it just a little bit different than a garage door, but you don't have truss blocking, a lot of different blocking and things you need for a garage door. Not required for this. Just X bracing and tension bracing, which at the end of the day makes the building stronger. Yeah. Gives the building, what we've done here has made the building without a door or with a door stronger, because the bracing and things we got to do to hold the door in an open closed position. So at the end of the day, it's a plus. This is the vertical rail. This is the vertical frame of the door here. It's all pre-assembled with the brackets on it. This is all pre-welded. This is steel pins, of course, tension bushings, same thing. I'm gonna grease the pin before I put it in there. Just you know, it lets the door wear. You know, like it's not perfect. So some places it's going to wear more than others, whereas that grease will stop some of that squeaking. I got my wheel horse down there, Shane. Up a hair, Shane. Yep. Slides right in. It's a little coaxing.
Do people do this DIY by themselves?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we send them out to farmers, and farmers do it. A lot of builders, a lot of garage door installers. I should say a few garage door installers. The few that we do have, absolutely love them because, oh my, they're simple. So I don't recommend you doing this. This is a two-man job. I know the machine, I know what it'll do. This is a finger pinching thing. I'm gonna do it on video this way because I know the machine. I know not to put my fingers in the pinchy points. I use this as a hydraulic jack on the lift. Through bolts. You can't lag bolts, power lags. A lot of load on these hinges. The door's open. A lot of loads in this weldment. So through bolts, got to be through bolted. So these are just a regular brushless motor, just a gear motor, DC gear motor. It's 24 volt, and then we also have a new system of 48 volt for the bigger doors. Biggest complaint we have is speed. Obviously these aren't going to move. The door's not going to move as fast as a garage door. It's a 16-foot door, so it's going to move 29 feet versus a garage door, 16-foot moves just 16 feet. Kind of open them as fast as we want to. Think as far as safety wise, you get them moving too fast, it doesn't give you time to get out of the way or see it coming. Or the center hinge, through bolt it like everything else. Not all. Any door that's wider than 18 foot gets a center support hinge. There's not a whole lot of load on this hinge, it's just more or less carrying the door, keeping it from bowing. 26 foot, so it'll bow if we don't have something to carry it center. This is just to keep the bolt from squeezing the header. I don't believe in cut corners. Make it right, make it last. And I'm gonna do it once, guys. Yeah, it's crucial. Don't forget those little bolts. Those hold the pin in. Yeah. It's a bad day if that pin falls out.
This particular style door was interesting to me because of a couple of things. First, John has promised that when it closes, it will be tighter than a garage door, just a regular garage door style. And I'm really trying to be pretty efficient here with this building. See if I can get a good seal on it so it doesn't cost me a lot to heat and cool. And he says I can get a good tight seal that really pulls it down tight, and I think that'll be good. I think that's one of the key points. The other thing is, on a nice spring or fall day, the idea of being able to fold this up and have some shade here, just have an open shaded area, I think is going to be very nice. I have a couple of concerns. Well, one concern, I guess, and that is snow against the door when I pick it up like this. But I'm on the south side of the building. The sun will get in here. It will be able to shine in here, and so it'll melt that snow. We don't have, big long-term snows here, and between the wind whipping through between these buildings and the sun shining toward the north, I think it shouldn't be that big of a deal. And John says it can push some snow. So I think that's interesting. Maybe we'll be able to show that on video at a later date. The other concern that I have is the same exact concern, is that I won't be able to park equipment right in front of that door there. Okay? So will it limit my usage of that space? In other words, I'll have something parked there and I'll say, yeah, but I want to open the door, and I have to open it up that way. But on the other side, I won't have any mechanism up in here, right? I can fully utilize all of this space up here. I'll be able to have pallet racking all the way to the ceiling on both sides here. I will not have those big garage door tracks in the way. So, you know, I think there's pluses and minuses there. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to giving this a try. We're gonna have a regular garage door on the other end, so you know we'll be able to do some comparisons to how they work. Of course, the other end is only 20 foot. This one's almost 26 foot. But other than that, you know, there's going to be some similarities.
Mounting the box in a spot where it's out of the way of everything, and then there's still room for it to rotate down with the jack. So. Cables are all pre-wired, all the ends are pre-done, ready to basically just plug and play.
Oh, that's awesome.
Keep things simple and easy. And this is in the assembly manual, but it just gives you all the what goes where on these wires. That way the homeowner then can troubleshoot and come up here and see that there's something come loose. This tells you what goes where. It's all right there. So water sealed junction box. And enough slack here to allow the motor to rotate down when the door opens. And it's very crucial. There's steel liners nothing in here, so they'll give them a little bit of slack so they can run these wires in behind the wall.
That's our awning.
Yeah.
Can you turn it around when I get tired?
You're gonna hurt yourself.
Hey. That's not recommended.
Okay, that's high enough.
Stop it, Shane. Uh-oh. That covers. Get you down.
I couldn't hold that long. I'm glad we didn't go all the way up.
Keeps falling out.
As I see this thing powering up, I'm just reminded of all the times I would have to pull the sliding doors to open them and then close them after I drove a combine or a tractor in on the farm. This is truly luxury. And there's not many ways to have a power door when you get to bigger sizes than this. Yeah, 26 foot, we could still probably do that with a regular garage door, but these bigger sizes that John talks about, there's just not many other ways. This one's going to work great. It opens to 89.5 degrees, and that's so that if it rains while the door is open, the water won't run in, it will run out and drip off the front. There's also a little bit of taper in the front of the door, I believe, to allow it to drain to either side.
Again.
Program the remotes here.
Oh, okay.
Create a specific code for each one.
Okay.
And then this is the lift. You
Ah.
can close and stop. So that light comes on, then press the button until that goes out. That's open. That's yellow's close. Red is stop.
John, you know, the coolest part to me is this is your baby.
Right.
You came up with this whole design. It's all your idea.
Yeah.
John Fehr with IBeam Doors. It's right there on the side of his truck. And there's all kinds of different people that you can get to install these, but you start by contacting John and or at the website. There'll be a contact us right there on the website, and he'll hook you up with a dealer. The size of the door is not directly related to the cost. So the bigger the door, really, the cheaper it is, and so that's one of the really effective parts of it. You can go, what, 80, 120 feet? How big can you go?
We go up to 60.
60 feet.
Yeah.
I was exaggerating.
He could do 80.
No thanks.
Not yet this afternoon
No,
anyway. It's been a hot day and I really appreciate it. I think this is going to be awesome. You did say something about the wind load. What I didn't understand was that the way you handle the wind load is by not having any actual steel on the door, as in
Yeah.
the wind should pass right through it.
You get an air-conditioned building that way too.
Oh, that's yet another feature.
Right.
No, the
Fan built in.
The builder is actually going to install the steel first on the outside, then we're going to spray foam it up. We'll just treat it like an extra wall, right? So from the outside, it's going to look just like the rest of the shop, wainscoting and everything. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
John, I really appreciate it.
It was fun.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
We enjoy this, and now I just need an airplane.
No, you don't.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim.
Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person, and they with me.